Morning to all of you. Today we are going to discuss the functioning of heart of the body. So in the last class we discussed the excretory system. Today we are going to discuss the functioning of the heart. As you all know, heart is the most important part of the body which circulates the blood. The blood passes through the heart, and oxygenated blood comes from the lungs to the heart, and deoxygenated blood which carries the carbon dioxide that comes from whole of the body, passing through every cell to the heart. Heart then again sends this blood, deoxygenated blood, to the lungs, where it is again oxygenated. The carbon dioxide is removed and comes out as a result of the external respiration, and the oxygen is dissolved in the blood. And you should know that hemoglobin, which is present as a red color pigment in the blood, that is the carrier of the oxygen. So blood normally this appears in red color. This is just because the presence of this pigment hemoglobin, which when absorbs the oxygen becomes red. So we are going to discuss just the basic functioning, the structure of the heart and how it is functioning. So here I have shown the structure. This is the cross section of the heart, just an indicative diagram, although it is very difficult to draw this. So this diagram you can draw in your exam. The red color shows the flow of the oxygenated blood coming from the lungs to the heart, and the blue color shows the deoxygenated blood, which shows the deoxygenated blood going from heart to the lungs for the purpose of oxygenation or absorption of the oxygen there. So heart is nothing but just you can say that this is made up of all these. We have this wall. This wall of heart is called septum. So heart is a muscle. I was trying to say heart is a muscle. So we call this as a cardiac muscle. You all have studied in 9th class that the types of muscles, one of them is cardiac muscle. Cardiac muscle, so we say that heart is a muscle which has been made up of these muscles, because cardiac means related to heart. That's why the name cardiac comes. So the heart is having 4 chambers, 1, 2, 3, 4. Why this is having 4 chambers, this I will be discussing later on. So this is known as right part, this is known as left part, because if I stand up like this, then this is towards my right, this is towards my left. The upper part is known as atrium. This is the right atrium, left atrium. This is ventricle, the right ventricle and the left ventricle. This is having 4 valves, 1, 2, 3, 4, and valves I have written here. W1 is the mitral valve. This is the mitral valve. W2, this valve is known as the tricuspid valve, and 3 and 4, W3 is aortic valve, and this is the pulmonic valve. So these chambers are separated from each other through this wall of heart, which is known as the septum. And we have the heart is comprising of the blood vessels which bring the blood to the heart. Like we have here this right atrium, this is the right atrium, and the heart comes to this. The blood is entering the right atrium through this path. This is known as vein, and we call this as pulmonary vein. Pulmonary means related to the lungs. The heart which is coming from the lungs through the pulmonary vein. Vein brings the blood to the heart, and the blood which is going to the lungs, that is through this artery. And because this is going to the lungs, so that's why we call this as pulmonary artery. Pulmonary means related to the lungs. So blood coming from the lungs through this vein called pulmonary vein. This is red, means oxygenated blood, and blood going for oxygenation, this red color shows, to the lungs through the artery called pulmonary artery. So artery means, vein means blood coming to the heart through the vein, and artery means blood going out of the heart. So when it is entering the heart coming from the lungs, then pulmonary vein. When going out of this to the body or to the lungs, then it is pulmonary artery. Now apart from this, we have vena cava, two other blood vessels. Basically it is in two parts, that's why we are saying that it is two, vena cava, which is bringing the deoxygenated blood from the body to the heart for the purpose of oxygenation, so that it can be sent to the lungs. So vena cava, one is called superior, another is called inferior. Superior is the one which brings the blood from the upper part of the body, like from the brain and all other upper organs to the heart, is called superior vena cava. So this one is the superior vena cava. And we have another such tube or blood vessel which is known as the inferior vena cava. This is the inferior vena cava, which brings the deoxygenated blood from rest of the body, or the lower half or the lower part of the body, to the heart. So these are the blood vessels which are present in the heart. So basically these are the different parts of the heart. Now how does the heart function? Now before this, let me explain you a term that is called double circulation. What is double circulation? Because you must have heard about the hibernation. There is a term called hibernation, like polar bears, lizards and other such animals, reptiles, etc. They cannot adjust their temperature according to the environment. So what do they do? What do they do when the temperature decreases, like in poles or in other places in winters here? They go for hibernation. They go to sleep. They store the fat in their body before that period, and they go for a long sleep at a place where the temperature is higher or a warmer place as compared to surrounding. That is called hibernation. We don't go for that because birds, mammals, humans, etc. and other animals which can do this, they can adjust the temperature of their body, and this is only because of circulation of the blood. So we have double circulation, provision of double circulation provided by the nature in our body, whereas they do not have the double circulation. Fish, reptiles, etc., they, polar bear, etc., they don't have double circulation. So what is double circulation? Double circulation, you can see here, these are the lungs and these are other body organs. What happens in body organs, during respiration we inhale oxygen and we exhale, or the carbon dioxide, you can say exhale means it comes out of through the nostrils. This is what we do in the respiration. Same thing happens in the plants also. So remember that in plants carbon dioxide is exhaled and oxygen is the intake of the plant. Do not get the misconception that plants inhale carbon dioxide. That happens only during the photosynthesis, where carbon dioxide is required for the conversion into energy. But in case of human or and all other animals, we inhale oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. So you can see here these are the lungs, other body organs. What happens in body organs or in the cells, tissues, etc., there is a term that is known as internal respiration. So there respiration can be divided into two parts. One is external, another is internal. So what we are doing here, what you are seeing, inhalation of oxygen with air and carbon dioxide coming out. So broadly this is known as external respiration. So internal respiration, when this oxygen is dissolved in the blood in the lungs, so this is moving to different parts of the body and supplied to every cell present in the body with the blood, so that oxygen is absorbed there, and the glycogen which is stored in the cells when we have the food intake, that is stored, that it is divided into its constituents, and the glycogen is stored in the cells, that is utilized by the body for its energy requirements, daily energy requirements. And in plants this glycogen is called starch, that is also stored in their body. So oxygen is required for the conversion of this glycogen into energy, and you all have studied that in the anaerobic respiration, aerobic respiration, or when oxygen is insufficient, what happens, how this glycogen is broken down in the presence of oxygen or in the absence of oxygen. So in human beings or in all other animals, birds, etc., so this glycogen is broken down with the help of oxygen intake. That is known as the internal respiration. This will be also discussing in the chapter of respiration, in the topic of respiration in this chapter. So when the blood is circulating in such a way that these are the lungs. So the oxygen which is absorbed here by the lungs, that mixes with the blood, and this red color blood through the pulmonary vein which is oxygenated is moving, and it is moving into the left atrium. LA means left atrium. First it enters into the atrium. When it contracts, first it relaxes, then the blood enters. When it contracts, then the blood through this valve W1. W1 is which valve? It is the mitral valve. This is the mitral valve. Mitral valve allows the blood to flow into the left ventricle. What is the purpose of these valves? The valves, or valve is such a body which allows the flow in only one direction. Like you have the tap and the opening or the cork of the tap, open it and close it, so water cannot flow back. Same is the purpose of valves here. It allows the blood to flow only in one direction, so that the blood does not mix up, otherwise there will be problem for the heart. So through the mitral valve the blood enters from this right atrium to right ventricle. Now what is the purpose of blood coming to the ventricle? Why atrium cannot send the blood to the different body parts? The reason is that it cannot maintain, or it cannot produce such a high pressure so that the blood is sent to different body parts. The high pressure is produced here in the, sorry, not right, this is the left ventricle. So the oxygenated blood is coming here, left atrium and left ventricle. So by mistake I have written here right, this should be left. So it enters into the left ventricle through this valve, and then it is sent to the different parts of the body. And how it is moving? Through the blood vessel that is known as the main artery or the aorta. Aorta, this is the aorta and this is the aortic valve. So after this, through the aorta the blood goes to different body organs, like we have the intestine, we have the liver, we have leg, we have hands, brain, etc., different parts of the body. It moves to every cell of the body through the aorta. So aorta and other blood vessels, they are further divided into very small capillaries, and through these capillaries the blood is moving to every cell, every organ of the body. And after this, when the organs absorb the oxygen for the purpose of internal respiration, the blood becomes deoxygenated. The color here has changed. So now is the deoxygenated blood is moving through another blood vessel, vena cava. It comes to the vena cava. Vena cava, I have defined here what is vena cava. It is superior and inferior. So this brings the blood here back to the heart, because it cannot be directly sent to the lungs. So it comes to the heart, right atrium, W2 valve, and through this, when this expands, the blood enters in the right atrium, and when it contracts, the valve allows the tricuspid valve, this is tricuspid valve here, this allows the blood to enter into the right ventricle through right atrium into right ventricle. And after right ventricle, this is the deoxygenated blood. This has to absorb the oxygen and it has to release the carbon dioxide. It is carrying the carbon dioxide, it is carrying the oxygen. CO2 is carried by this blood. So through this, the blood is pumped through the pulmonary artery. This is deoxygenated blood. So we have pulmonary artery, and through this valve, W4 is pulmonic valve. This is the deoxygenated blood which has to release the CO2. It is carrying with this, and it has to absorb the oxygen from the lungs. So through pulmonary artery it goes to the lungs, and again the same thing is repeated. So this path of the blood is called pulmonary circulation, means lungs to this heart, and upper half is known as pulmonary circulation, and then again lungs to heart, pulmonary circulation, and the lower half in which the blood is moving from heart to the different body organs, this is known as systemic circulation. So systemic plus pulmonary, when we combine these together, this becomes double circulation. So we define the term double circulation as a circulatory system in which the blood travels twice through the heart in one complete cycle of body. So blood is moving twice, this and this, in one complete cycle. This plus this make the double circulation. Where is the double circulation required? As I told you, like mammals, birds, animals, etc., like us, human beings, we can maintain our body temperature. In winters, where the external temperature is lower and body temperature is high, so we can maintain that high temperature. Otherwise, the heat will be going out from our body and we will feel cold. When we are sick, we feel like this. In summers, external temperature is very high, body temperature is lower, so we can maintain that also. So for this we need double circulation, so that the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood, when it circulates through the heart or the body, it is not getting mixed up. That is the purpose of double circulation. That's why we, along with other such animals and mammals, birds, etc., are having 4 different chambers in the heart. We have 4-chambered heart. Whereas in case of amphibians like lizards, frogs, reptiles, etc., the heart is having only 3 chambers. 2 atrium and only 1 ventricle. In place of 2 ventricle, they are having only 1 ventricle. 3-chambered heart, because they have to come to the surface. You must have seen the crocodiles, lizards, etc., coming to the surface of water or earth wherever they live for after certain period of time. If they are in water or if wherever they live, they are taking sun bath. I am calling this term intentionally as sun bath because they have to come into the sunlight after some time, and this is just for the purpose of maintaining their temperature, body temperature. So they get some blood which is oxygenated and some deoxygenated gets mixed up because ventricle is only 1. So they have 3-chambered heart. And on the other hand, fish have only 2-chambered heart, 1 atrium, 1 ventricle. The reason behind this is fish do not have the lungs, they have the gills. So they absorb the water, they intake the water where they live and absorb the blood is pumped directly from the heart to the gills, and there the blood absorbs the oxygen and circulates to the entire body because they do not have the lungs. So their blood is totally getting mixed up. There is only single circulation. That's why they have only 2 chambers in their heart. So one thing you should also note here, that sometimes the question is asked in the exam that the oxygen is present in abundance on the surface of the earth in the atmosphere. So why the fish, when they come out of water, they die here? The reason is that because their body is adapted to the oxygen intake present there in water. Oxygen is limited in water, whereas here the oxygen is present in abundance. So they cannot cope up with the system here. The body system for the respiration for the fish is different as compared to us. We have lungs, they do not have. That's why they cannot survive here. So this is the functioning of the heart, the human heart. And there is one more term called the heartbeat. What is heartbeat? The chambers I have mentioned here, they are contracting and they are expanding in a rhythm. So when the blood enters here, this is expanding, and after this, when this contracts, the blood enters the right ventricle, and then when this contracts, the blood is pumped out. And same thing happens here. When this expands, the left atrium expands, the blood enters. When this contracts, the blood enters when this contracts, this is expanding. So these things are occurring in a rhythm. So one set of all such expansion and contraction is called one heartbeat. Now there is a term called blood pressure. It is having blood pressure is measured by sphygmomanometer. This is a device you all must have seen. So we have two types of blood pressure measurement. One is called systolic, other is called diastolic. The blood pressure measurement unit is in millimeter of mercury, and ideally this should be 120 to 80 mm of mercury. This should be the ideal blood pressure, but as the age increases, the blood pressure is also increasing. So as I told you, it is measured in terms of systolic and diastolic blood pressure. So systolic blood pressure is the maximum blood pressure or the maximum pressure applied by the blood when it leaves the heart through the main artery or the aorta during contraction phase, and minimum pressure in the arteries during the relaxation phase of heart is called diastolic. So systolic, this is systolic, the maximum pressure of the blood, minimum pressure, diastolic. So if the blood, there is variation in blood pressure, 130 to 90 can be a normal value for the persons who are having age near 40 or above that, and this increases also due to some reasons. And when there is the blood pressure is in the range of 140 or and above 90 for when permanently it is above or around 140 to 90, then this stage is called hypertension. So this is all about the functioning of the heart. Thank you very much. If there is any question, you can ask me by writing in the chat box, and thank you.